Madam Speaker, I rise to support this national report. And Madam Speaker, I'm a scientist. And like all scientific minds, we believe in gradual progression. The fact that we have missed on some areas but gained on others is in keeping with the spirit of progression, and therefore I believe to an extent, if we adopt this report, we will move the frontier of democracy. Madam Speaker, when the NADCO process commenced, expectations of Kenyans were very high. Expectations of women were very high. And Madam Speaker, it is sobering to note that this report is going to be defined by only 4 things. It's going to be defined and be remembered for creating the office of the leader of the opposition, the office of the Prime Minister, fixing the problem of IEBC, and lastly but not least, it will be remembered for its failure. It failed. It failed because Kenyans paid by limb, by sweat, by blood, and by life, so that their promise that due to this particular dialogue, the cost of living would come down, they hoped that this would fix it. It has not. The issue of having approached Kenyans in rallies and mobilized them and urged them to believe that the cost of living would be fixed through dialogue was a big hoax. It is therefore sad that nowhere in this report have we fixed the cost of living. The second failure, Madam Speaker, is the 2/3 gender rule. It's a huge failure. I never knew that people were lying about 2/3 gender. I don't know what people fear about women. Madam Speaker, the cost of running the office of the leader of the opposition, the cost of running the entire retinue around the office of the Prime Minister is far more than the cost of fixing the 2/3 gender rule in this House, where we need only 2 women more, and in the National Assembly. It was deceit that we have not fixed the problem of 2/3 gender. The fact that it was downgraded to be taken to a task was a confirmation that nobody wanted it. Outside this negotiated process, which is political, you can never fix the 2/3 gender rule. It's a shame, and I want to urge ourselves to reflect. I have heard you, Chair, when you're contributing, as Speaker, when you're contributing, you said they'd be given 1 week. They don't need a week. We just give them 1 hour to go and pray. After praying, they fix an addendum that the 2/3 gender rule has been agreed upon. End of story. If you don't like 2/3 gender rule, why are you using the current constitution, which provides for the same? This is my problem, and we will move our country, whether some people like it or not. I remember when I was a little boy at the University of Nairobi, we used to go to the Great Court, and we would stand on a table, and we would talk to nobody, talking just to the air, that we would change this country and bring in multi-party democracy. We did. I therefore want to speak here and say, whether some people in this country like it or not, 2/3 gender rule, one day will be effected in this country. It's a shame that we wasted hundreds of millions on a report that is disappointing. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator
Have I offended you?
Ojenda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Allow me to contribute to today's debate. And Madam Speaker, first of all, let me start by thanking the committee.
Senator Tobiko.
Let me take this opportunity, Madam Speaker.
What's the point of order?
Honorable member speaking, but it's about the AC levels in this house. I've had to walk out twice because it's just a little too cold.
Okay.
To make it possible
please.
for all of us to be in the house, can it be reduced?
Thank you, Senator. Senator Ojenda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute to the NADCO report. And Madam Speaker, let me start by procedurally thanking the team that sat together to deliberate over the many issues that bedevil this country and that finally led to the NADCO report. But Madam Speaker, I have a number of issues that I will raise in this report because, Madam Speaker, I do not want this report to meet the same fate as the BBI report. I say so, Madam Speaker, because there are several constitutional hurdles which, if not dealt with early enough, even before the bills are done, then this report may meet the same fate as the BBI report. Madam Speaker, the question of the cost of living that was at the core of this report was not agreed upon. And I think it is of note that when there were the several demonstrations organized countrywide by one faction of the opposition then, the main clamor then was for the reduction of the cost of living, and that is therefore one sticky issue. But let me also say this, Madam Speaker, that the cost of living, I believe, is work in progress, and I'm sure both sides of government, the opposition and government, will work towards realizing an affordable cost of living for the residents of this country.
Senator, a point of information, is it?
Madam Speaker, I'm well informed, but I don't know why my line friend wants to inform me.
I'm sure you'll not refuse if I am to inform you. So, Madam Speaker, I've listened to two contributions, one from